everybody. This is Jen Verma, the host of the Best Kept Secrets podcast. We are here to bring forward solutions that help small businesses and nonprofits drive top line revenue and bottom line results. I am joined today here by my friend and colleague, Bibi Carrington with Shift Pixie. She's in national sales. Lyndon, can we bring Bibi on? Hi, Bibi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? It's good to see you.
You too. Thank you.
Excellent. So Bibi is in national sales for a company called Shift Pixie, and Shift Pixie is solving for workforce challenges in the gig economy. So before I ask you what the gig economy is, because I don't know what that is, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, just you personally?
Me personally? Nothing to do with the business?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, I'm originally from England. I came to the United States when I was 19 years old. It was always my dream, and I've never looked back. I'm a mom of two. I have a little doggy, and and I just absolutely love helping people.
Awesome.
A bit about me.
All right. So tell me, what is the gig economy? Because that's a new term.
Yeah, well, I mean, it all started back, pretty much early 2009 when a lot of these platforms, really Uber was the first one that got started in this, to where they really had an opportunity for people to pretty much pick up a shift, right? Pick up a gig right there on the mobile phone. And ever since then, it's just changed everything. So actually 37% of the workforce right now is part of the gig economy, which means that either freelance workers or they're just, I guess just kind of independent workers. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of gig economy. And you'll see it, like I said, with Uber, and you'll see when people can pick up a shift, whether they're doing like Instacart, TaskRabbit, or people just freelancing from home. That's pretty much what the workforce is. And they're even saying by 2027, this is what the Bureau of Labor Statistics is saying, probably by 2027, it's probably going to be nearly 1 in 3 is going to be part of the gig economy.
So is that what's driving a lot of the staffing shortages that some industries are seeing?
Absolutely, especially when it comes to the part-time labor. Mm-hmm. So, I think a lot of people really thought that, after COVID passed, right, that everyone would just rush back in to start working. And that's not what happened. I'm hearing that across the board, whether it's, restaurants, retail, hospitality, and they're all really struggling to find people. And a lot of them, they're not really understanding why. Mm-hmm. And, so whether it means they're trying to compete with offering more money or better benefits, and then, they're just not really understanding, how can we get these people in? And the old fashioned ways of recruiting people are different. It's more than just, a sign on the door or an advertisement in a paper. You have to meet the workforce where they are. Mm-hmm. And that's right there on their mobile phone. Right. So you really need to start embracing technology and giving a lot of the workforce, they're wanting independence and flexibility. And they want to be able to piece their work life and kind of work when they want to work. And so if a lot of these companies, don't have these systems in place or the technology, then they really can't even get access to this workforce.
So, okay, that's great in theory. Let's embrace the employees where they are. Let's embrace technology. Let's embrace change. We all love change, right? We all love it.
They all love change.
So how is business supposed to compete, embrace all this stuff, and compete to get employees?
I'm sorry, what was that again?
How is a business supposed to embrace all these things they're supposed to embrace now, right? Yeah. And compete in this current economic climate? Like, how do they get that done?
Yeah, well, a lot of them are like, there's a lot of companies out there right now. They're all trying to say, hey, we can do staffing this way. We can get them onboarded. We can get people, like a workforce, like in really quickly, and that's fine. And a lot of these companies are competing to get the same kind of people, to find talent, to get them in the door, to get them working. But a lot of the issue is keeping them. It's one thing trying to get people in, but how can you communicate with a lot of these people, and how can you always get access to them? Because that's what these platforms are doing. It is like you don't see Uber out there struggling to find these people or communicate. They come to them because they can just go to the app, and that's what it comes down to. Go to the app, go to the phone and say, hey, I want to work today.
Right.
So unless they really have that technology, and that's really what we've created here at Shift Pixie, we've really revolutionized, the employment when it comes to, the part-time labor, especially when it comes to like for restaurants, said retail, hospitality, light manufacturing, those kind of companies that really rely on the part-time labor. And I kind of want to go back a little bit in why that's important with the part-time labor was, especially when it came to the Affordable Care Act. When that came into play, they said to a lot of the operators, it says, hey, anyone that's working over 1,560 hours in a calendar year, you have to offer them benefits. So then, as we all know, benefits are very expensive. So what a lot of operators was put a lot of people onto part-time. But what happened was now these people that are part-time are going, oh my God, how can I piece together? How can I make up my hours if I'm only working 20 hours here? How can I, provide for my family? And so they'll maybe go somewhere else to try and piece together. And if sometimes their shifts don't fit with their priorities, they lose them. So, even though it was a way for them to avoid the benefits, it created this whole other, issue for them in finding people. But that's another thing that we solved now that they don't have to on our platform worry about, keeping an eye out on how many hours they're working. Because on the Shift Pixie platform, we actually do all the ACA reporting for them so they can go to work. So that's kind of what we did at Shift Pixie. We really saw labor where it was and really took our time to really start focusing on the technology.
Well, so from what you were saying a little bit earlier, finding employees has always been expensive, but I would imagine that cost is going up dramatically with the gig economy sort of taking up a large percentage of the part-time workforce anyway now.
Yeah.
So, first of all, when you find them, you want to keep them, right? I mean, employee turnovers are always been expensive, but now that's even more so the case. So how does Shift Pixie solve for employee turnover and mitigate the cost of losing resources that you've already spent time and effort training and onboarding?
Yeah, great question. That's really what I'm excited about, because it's one thing when people say, oh, I have a company that's helping me get people in. I say, well, that's great, but you're not keeping them. And that employee turnover, like you were saying, gets very expensive. And especially when it comes to like managers, it gets even more expensive. And it's a revolving door getting people in. But if you don't have the technology or the systems in place to keep them. So what we've done at Shift Pixie is not only can we get them, staffed really quickly, but we've created a mobile app and the scheduler to where once, let's say we found someone, we've onboarded Johnny, right? And he's gone through all the onboarding on our platform, which he can do probably within 20 minutes. We've done the I-9s, we've done the verification, we've done the background checks, everything. And then when he gets on the platform, now he can be available for shifts. So once he's on the platform, it kind of becomes his live resume. We can ask, like, have you been trained here? Have you, what kind of experience do you have, in all these other things? So we can match his qualifications. You got a food handler's license. So once he's in, let's say we get him to work, but on the platform, let's say for some reason he can't do all the shifts that the manager wants him to do. Let's say, so instead of losing him, let's say, they'll say, hey, Johnny, I understand you can't, commit to all the shifts that we've given you, right? But would you just stay visible on the app? So at least this way, he can always, he can create a bench of people so he can just notify him. So let's say he does have a no-show, which happens all the time, or he gets a shift gap. These people that he's had work before and that he's trained, now he can kind of send out a notification on the app and say, hey, there's a shift. Can anyone pick it up? So he doesn't have to lose these people. And this is why we talk about creating the deeper bench of people. So once the more people he has on there, the deeper bench he'll have to access. I talked to a restaurant operator just yesterday, and he says they probably lose at least 10 people a month. Well, you imagine, that's a lot of people, but imagine all those people being on our platform to where you can still access them. Let's say they're working somewhere else. it doesn't matter. Let's say they can't always commit to all the shifts you give them, but at least they're visible for the managers.
So, and that's amazing. And I would think that would be even more powerful for like franchises where you have multiple owners with multiple locations, but the training and the onboarding and the job is really the same. And if people could partner and share a pool of resources, I would imagine that would be pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah, well, that's what I tell a lot of operators, because a lot of multi-franchisees, they'll have a lot of locations. And so once they're onboarded and these people, like I said, they've gone through all the training, they're ready to go. But let's say, you know, on our platform, they can have what we call kind of a guard view. So all the managers can kind of see where all these people are. So let's say store B a couple of miles away needs somebody. They can send out a notification to the people on the team so they can share them. And the app will even show who's at risk of overtime, who's already scheduled, or you won't even, so they can see instantly kind of who's available. But I even have some operators saying, hey, well, if I put all my part-time people on the platform, even with the restaurants, because, you know, they all a lot of times know each other, can we share this pool of people? You know, and we're saying, well, you know, absolutely. The more people that you get on, you want access to them, because right now you're not getting access to them. They're because I always ask them, why are they leaving you? And a lot of them are saying, well, like I said, it's our schedule doesn't fit, or they don't want to work full time here. You know, they get burnt out, or they're going to school, or it's a mom, she's got her kids. And I was like, but imagine you all just kind of having access to these people, because these people would love to be able to just pick up a shift. And what's really unique about us in picking up that shift for the actual employee is, unlike Uber, to where they're an independent contractor, they get no employee protection or benefits. So when they onboard on our platform, they get the workers' comp benefits, they get access, you know, to benefits or 401k. Right now, for all these other platforms, they don't get that. So that's
let's unpack that for a minute. I want to kind of pause on that.
Yeah.
So I'm an employee. I used to have a company, a brick and mortar company, and you know, and I worked with employees. I had W-2 employees, and I worked with, you know, the Texas Workforce Commission, because we're in Texas, and you know, I had to talk about providing benefits like with a PEO, which is great because it's fractional, which is beautiful, but that's not what I want to unpack. So if I, as an employer, an employee wanted to leave because maybe they weren't getting enough hours, maybe it conflicted with school or whatever it was, and they decided they wanted to leave, if I put them on the Shift Pixie platform as like a co-employment shared resource, then, or for whatever reason, you know, if they go to TWC and try to claim unemployment and take that back to me and, you know, make me pay unemployment, they're not unemployed because they're still employed by Shift Pixie. Is that correct? Yeah.
So Shift Pixie handles all of that for you. So when people come on our platform, you know, we handle all the payroll, the human resources. We've got the workers' comp. We've got all the benefits. So they pretty much get a one labor bill, because right now they're outsourcing to multiple people. We have it to where some operators are saying, hey, I just want to do payroll for my full-time people. I want to keep that under my FEIN, whatever, which is fine. They can do that. But we want you to take on the responsibility of the part-time people, because a lot of times those are the people that they just don't want to do. I mean, I always say employees are your greatest asset, but they're also your biggest, you know, liability when it comes to the administrative side of it. So for us, we handle everything for them. Like I said, when it comes to the onboarding, if they have certain, you know, employee handbooks that we need them to sign, we do all that. But we're the ones, like I said, that doing all the ACA. We're the ones that's on our workers' compensation. We're the ones offering the benefits. So however many hours they work and they clock in on the app, we just send them, you know, the bill at the end of the, you know, bi-weekly, however they want to pay, and just say, you know, it's all done under one roof. But they don't have to worry about letting them go and dealing with all that.
So a business that chooses to do business with Shift Pixie and leverage the technology and tap into the employees, you know, where they are on their phone, they don't have to onboard all their employees if they do business with you. They can choose a subset, just be like, hey, just the part-time people are on here, and they can keep doing all of that for their managers or leadership or whatever it is. Is that right?
Yeah. So we have like 3 different tiers. So if somebody, you know, because we know change is difficult to a lot of them. So and it's really changing that paradigm for a lot of them. But we know they need people right now. They need workers badly. So we can say, we can just help you with what we call our, our staffing. We can just get these people into work for you. We have great AI technology that's always looking for what you're looking for. So we can have like a percentage of the payroll that we send out to them. So if all they want is for us to send them people and we can send them a bill in that sense, we can do that. Then the second option really is to put their part-time people on the platform because they really want to take advantage of the scheduler. The scheduler is what shows the managers who's there, and it's the app and the scheduler that the manager can move around. Let's say 2 people didn't show up for that morning. Instead of him trying to get on the phone or having to pay overtime or having shift gaps, all these no-shows, now he can go to the app and send out a notification to, let's say, his home team, which is the part-time people on the platform instantly, and they can respond, whoever says yes, blah, 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 and then he can choose who he wants. And then if for some reason they can't do it, then he can push it out to our ecosystem to get these on-demand workers. And this is all done on the phone. He doesn't have to get on it. So at the end of the day, he chooses what he wants. And at least he doesn't have these shift gaps that he's struggling with. So it's a beautiful thing. And then if they want to put everyone on our platform, they can, but we're not making them change everything if they don't want to. We just want to solve this issue that a lot of them really are facing.
So now that kind of begs the next question. If you guys are onboarding resources as employees, right? And you do background checks, I-9s, blah, 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 blah. Do you do custom onboarding? Like, can the business tell you, this is the background check we want done, these are the forms or what have you? Or is it like cookie cutter?
No, I mean, if they're already on our platform, we do a pretty standard background check already that we have in the I-9s and we do all the verification, right? So we'll have them pretty much ready to go. But then if it's a certain operator that we have, we even have it, Denny's, and they have a lot of policies and procedure in place. And they say, okay, so for them, what we do is when we get their staff on, we actually give them a code for when his staff onboards, which kind of marries them to that store. So when they go on with that code and they go through the whole onboarding, which is very quick, and if their phone's set to Spanish, it will actually do it in Spanish too, and it's a chat bot. So, but for there, like I said, they've got policies and procedures. So we can add things to it. Now, if they want to go deeper into the background checks, then there may be a little fee extra depending on how deep they want to go. But, we can absolutely do that. End of the day, we don't want to change nothing that they do operationally. Right. We want to at least, work with them and say, what is it that you need, and let us work with you. Absolutely. So
you want to conform to what they're already doing, not make them like completely jump tall buildings to be on your platform.
Yeah. I mean, our goal is to protect the operator at the end of the day. So, I mean, that's the beautiful thing with the app is when they clock in and, we can have it to do with face recognition.
Go ahead and hold that thought for me, if you don't mind. We're going to go to break. I know this is the Bibi show. I knew it was going to be the Bibi show.
I get passionate.
But we're going to let our sponsors have a word in Edgewise.
Okay.
And then when we get back, Bibi's going to tell us more about the technology specifically and what it can do to help mitigate some of management issues that are currently in the workspace and in the workplace. Yep. Lyndon.
My name's Kim Wallace, and I've been in insurance for over 12 years. I started out as a staff member in an agency helping service customers, and I absolutely loved it. Knowing that I could help people even on their worst day just to make it a little bit better was rewarding for me. We take a look at each individual family and we develop a plan that best suits their needs. Let our office give you the peace of mind to know that we've got you covered. You can call or text our office at 469-604-4484 for a free quote or a policy review. Or you can check us out on Facebook at Insure Frisco.
Hello, my name is Bibi Carrington, National Sales at Shift Pixie. Now, Shift Pixie's purpose is to bring efficiency to the part-time labor markets. Are you a business owner that is struggling to find people and keep people? Well, the good news is we've curated the largest population of available workers in the country, and they're ready to work for you. You can get access to a live, local, on-demand workforce, so you never have to worry about those shift gaps again. Our technology and our engagement will also help stop that toxic turnover that a lot of operators are facing. Let's jump on a call. Let us show you how we can get you out of the recruiting business for good. I look forward to speaking to you soon. Thank you.
Save to Support provides small businesses with a way to give back to any and all causes by providing consumers value in exchange for their donation dollars. When a consumer subscribes to donate on the Save to Support platform, 90% of the subscription is donated to their selected charity, and the consumer gets 20% off of all products and services in the network of participating businesses. To register as a nonprofit, supporting business, or to subscribe to donate to your favorite cause, go to savettosupport.org. That's save, the number 2, support.org. Support, shop, save.
Hey, so we're back. Bibi, that was a great commercial.
That looks so familiar.
Right? I couldn't get enough. But so that's like I said, today's the Bibi show. So before we go into the technology, I would like to talk a couple more questions around the on-demand workforce. So I know we talked a lot about, restaurants and franchises and what have you, but there are a few industries where you guys are really plugging into right now. Those are restaurant, light industrial, and medical. Is that correct?
Yeah. We have a big nursing platform because especially during COVID, there was nurses that had to be at different locations, for the COVID testing. So we have nurses. I mean, anything that deals with the part-time labor. I mean, whether it's retail, hospitality, we even have a lot of janitorial companies. And that's the great thing also with the app is because the owner can see where everyone is kind of in time and space because of their phone. So a lot of times if the managers have people off site, like nursing places or off site, the cleaning buildings, and we can actually geo-fence that location. So when they clock into work, we geo-fence it that they can't clock in until they're at the location at the time they want. So they always know where they are, which is great. So because a lot of times they don't know, if they're there all the time. So
well, and I think that would be, because there were very specific use cases of where you've onboarded people already and you don't want to lose them, and so you put them on here and you can tap into them. But I would imagine there's a place for, I have a painting company, and painting is painting, right? Mm-hmm. So can a company tap into resources for just on-demand staffing that maybe they don't put resources back to you? They're just like, hey, I need a painter today. Can they leverage your technology to do that too? Or does it have to be, I've already onboarded them, I've already trained them? And so I guess my question is, do companies have access to a pool of resources outside of what they've provided to you?
Yeah. So right now, I mean, if we get on a client, right, and we can say a client that wants to work with us, first of all, there's no upfront cost. Mm-hmm. And we don't have a long-term commitment. It's pretty much pay as you go because we don't believe we need to do that. So let's say someone comes to us and say, hey, we want to work with you. We need these kind of people that then we can start kind of putting the ads out there and start marketing to get them for them. We may already have people that already have the skills that they're looking for anyway, but we can get these people to them very quickly. But like I said, the goal at the end of the day is when they do get that painter and they say, hey, I like this guy, is they want to be able to get him again because he may not need him for another month.
Right.
So, but without the technology and notifying that guy, like, hey, I've got a gig, I've got another job. Can you take it on? Mm-hmm. And then he'll say, yeah, because right now they're not communicating with them. But if you just go to a typical kind of like staffing company, it's like you got to start all over again. So, that's the beauty of what it is. But we'll work with certain skills that they need. So when they do get on board, they can say, hey, I've trained, in painting, I've got that skill, whatever. I know how to do forklift truck, whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is the ability to tap into resources that haven't already worked for you in certain situations where they don't need that discrete, training. Okay. That's fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about the technology itself. You were talking about like the GPS and the time tracking. So I would imagine that would be super helpful for like delivery drivers and making sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, cleaners, things of that nature. But the time tracking component, I would imagine, is huge to know when people are coming and going, and to be able to communicate with, like, if you do release somebody for cause, and they do, go to the Workforce Commission, complain, whatever, file a suit, unemployment, whatever, having that documentation, I would think is very valuable in the technology.
Well, it's huge, and I think this is one of the biggest ways how we can protect an operator, because I've had some to where they didn't have the technology for when they clocked in. Well, they might have done it on, let's say, the POS system, whatever, but there's nothing like saved in the cloud anyway, So a lot of times if people are late, for their shifts, or they leave early or whatever it is, or didn't clock out on time, or, whatever it is, everything is logged on our system. So when they clock in, like I said, they'll take the face of the buddy punch. It'll remind them, and it'll remind the managers for them to take breaks. And they can even ask questions when they clock out. Hey, did you take your break? Hey, did you clean this? Whatever it is. But all that is saved. It's like a huge conversation log. So let's say the manager says, hey, Joey had an issue today, blah, 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 and he can put whatever he needs in, or he didn't show, or whatever it is. It saves all that in there. So if ever there comes to be an issue later, the operator can access that and say, well, hey, this is why, what's going on. So it's protecting them in that sense, because that is a lot of the, the biggest issues that a lot of them, are definitely facing when it comes to, the employees and things like that.
Right. Okay. So a lot of people are allergic to technology. They just are. I'm not terribly concerned about the part-time workforce being allergic to technology, but there could be cases where that's the case. So how hard, from an employee perspective, how hard is it to use that?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think a lot of them are worried about that. And you believe it or not, I mean, a lot of times it's the managers that say to me, oh my God, Bibi, please tell them about this, because this will save everything for me, because they're so stressed out. They're tired of always interviewing. They're tired of being in the recruiting. They're not doing the jobs they were hired to do because they're busy dealing with people not showing up. And so this really frees a lot of the times for the manager, but it creates it, so efficiently, because first of all, that we train the people, right? And we train the managers on how to use it. It's really pretty much a drag and drop scheduler. And once they create that template, they can duplicate that template. And I can show everyone, the operators on a demo, just exactly what it looks like in real time, right? So once they know that, everyone knows how to use a phone. It's literally just go in there and push buttons and send out notifications. The manager gets notifications back, and he can look up and literally push buttons. It's easy. The scheduler is also very easy, and we track everything on our end. Once they've clocked in, we track everything for them. We'll send them everything at the end to approve, the time cards and everything that they need as well. But once the managers go through it and they see, like I said, they've created that schedule, and like I said, and they can say, okay, this is when I need to cook, and they just drag and drop and put it in. But it also shows them on the side, like, how many hours they've worked, whose food handler's license is coming up for expiration. It'll show like who's at risk of overtime, who's not available, whatever it is. It's very simple in real time. I think it's a lot easier than going to a back scheduler or piece of paper to see what's going on. It's just so much simpler. And that's the whole thing, is we want to bring efficiency to the whole, workforce.
All right. One more question. We're almost out of time. It's amazing. This has just flown by. Okay, I have a shift. I shoot out to the world. I need this shift filled. What do I see on my phone as a part-time workforce that's on the app? Like, do I get a push notification, a text message, an email? How do we communicate to say, hey, this shift is open to the people that are, available?
Yeah, well, exactly. So once the operators let us know what it is they're looking for, they will get a notification right there on their phone of what's available. And if they want to, because I know one of the biggest things a lot of them complain is sometimes no shows. I mean, they can even set up a FaceTime video and just say, hey, can you get on a video? Can I talk to you? They can do it that way as well. But they'll get notified on the phone of all these people, and then the managers can, choose who it is that they want to come in or train.
So they get notified like a push notification to say, hey, there's a job available?
It comes right to them on their phone. If they want it on the email, we can do that too.
Okay, fantastic. We'll email for that. Most of that generation is, it may as well not exist.
They're way too busy to be checking it.
We both have teenagers. We know. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Bibi, for joining me today. We are sadly out of time. I know we could probably talk about this all day, like we do over brunch and on most weekends. but we're going to go. Again, I'm Jen Verma. Thank you, Bibi, for being here. You've watched one of our best kept secrets. So now you know. Lyndon, back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.